consumers, to the Life Happens, Laugh Anyway podcast. I'm comedian Tracy DeGraff.
And I'm Catherine, co-host and bestie.
Welcome back to the Pod Lab, Catherine.
Yeah, glad to be here.
We are at episode
156.
156.
Yeah, moving along.
Exciting. Today's topic is an interesting one. It's the year in review.
Of 2023.
Yeah, we're taking a look back before we go forward. We are recording this in December of 2023. What is today? The 21st.
Yeah. So more can happen, but we won't be recording it. Sorry.
Yeah, we'll just be living it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we have podcast sponsors. Who are our podcast sponsors, Catherine?
They are our humor contributors. As far as naming them off the top of my head, I can't name them all because I don't have the list in front of me. But we are very grateful for them because they contribute $5 a month.
They do.
A few of them have done one lump sum. It has enabled us to buy new microphones. Hopefully you could tell the difference. These are really good microphones and new arms, like the boom thing for it.
We've got the Shure microphones.
Yes, we do.
We're sure about it.
Right. And new cloud something. The contributors have helped us with that.
They absolutely did. So we thank them. And if you would like to join them, all you have to do is go to Patreon and put in Life Happens, Laugh Anyway. And you can join this group of wonderful people. Or you can go to my website, tracydgraff.com. Also can get there by going to comedythatsaves.com because it's easier to spell than Tracy and DeGraff.
Yeah.
Because there are many ways to spell that. All right. Well, we've gotten that out of the way. By the way, I forgot to tell you this, that my mother-in-law, Claudia, sponsored us with $100.
Oh,
so
wonderful.
thank you, Claudia.
Thank you, Claudia.
We appreciate that.
Yay, that's exciting.
Yeah. We accept all gifts, whether they're recurring or a one-time gift. So if you'd like to.
Absolutely.
And all amounts, $2 times 100 people helps us.
It sure does. Yeah. Yeah, well, I need to get a list of all of our contributors so I have it with me in case.
All right.
No.
I spring it on you.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, let's jump into our episode and look back at 2023. So this is what you will get out of this if you stick with us for the remainder of the podcast. We're going to talk about events. We're going to talk about celebrities from 2023 that passed away. And we're also going to give you just some of the highlights of our year, like what happened in Catherine's life and what happened in my life in 2023. And then, of course, as always, at the very end, we will leave you with some scripture, so we always like to do that, and a little call to action. So what say you, Catherine? What happened in 2023 that we need to remember?
Yeah, we've got quite a bit of things. So we know that you all don't come up to us or listen to us for your news source, I would say. So
well, they come to listen to us for all sorts of things, Catherine.
Well, we handpicked certain ones that we think are, worthy to mention.
We went
whatever.
through a bunch of them. We're like yawn, snooze. We don't care what happened.
Well, here's what I was thinking. I'm like, we are so American in our American bubble because there's a lot of world events, and I'm like, did you know this, or do you care? It sounds terrible. Like, okay, for example, there was a big bad scale earthquake in, now I don't remember, Turkey and Syria. I don't know. I know Turkey is one of them, but anyway, we're like, yeah. Well, no, that sounds so bad.
We're sorry for the people that suffered from it.
Truly. But anyway, it didn't make the list, but now it did.
Yeah.
So there we go.
There.
Well, okay. In January, one of the first things that happened on the 5th was Pope Benedict died, and then Tracy said, well, first I just said the Pope. She goes, which one? And I said, Benedict. XVI, the Roman numeral.
And I'm like, what's XVI? It sounds like a series,
I know.
Benedict XVI.
Yeah, so we kind of laughed about that.
I looked up an interesting fact about Pope Benedict XVI.
Oh?
Okay, so he's the first pope in 600 years, almost 600 years, to abdicate. Or whatever they call it, to resign.
Really?
Yeah. And then prior to 600 years ago, the last pope the first pope to abdicate, or whatever they call it, 1800 years ago.
What? Okay, now why did Benedict XVI? Why did he
I think
resign?
it was health. I think he was like weak and ill or something.
Oh, well, that's a legit. Like,
Well, of
nobody
course.
in 600 years was ill?
Oh, they were ill, but they were just propped up like Weekend at Bernie's.
That's
They were
true.
just
That's
like,
true.
I'm still here.
They got the Muppet strings. Like, okay.
Don't take this away from me. If God says you're the Pope, you're the Pope.
Right.
All right,
that's funny.
wait. I'm looking it up. Why did he step down? Yeah. Oh, he.
Uh-oh.
This is funny. It says he had trouble sleeping.
Don't we all, Pope Benedict? Come on.
He couldn't
I wonder if it's
sleep.
because he was thinking about Benedict. Eggs
don't-
Benedict in the
I
morning.
don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. But where is this coming from?
He couldn't sleep.
It says that the main reason behind his shocking decision was because he had trouble sleeping.
Well, maybe he was bothered by world problems, perhaps.
Perhaps, but you can't get a
And not-
sleeping pill for that.
I know.
You gotta say I'm out because I can't
out.
sleep. I gotta take a nap.
Oh gosh.
I can't be doing this popey
Well.
stuff. I gotta be down.
Let's hope it was. I
Oh
don't
my
know.
Gosh, that's hilarious.
Yeah, because join the club.
I know. My goodness.
Seriously.
Yeah.
All right.
Next,
January 8th, Adam Rich died.
Adam Rich.
Or were you going to put that on your list?
I was, but we
Oh,
can talk about him
oops.
now. We can talk about him now. He was the star of 8 is Enough, or one of the stars.
One of the stars. He was the little boy.
Yes,
The
and he
cute
was
little
so
boy.
cute, and he had that little
the bowl
bucket
haircut.
head. Yes.
Yeah.
And he was only 54.
Yeah, he's my age.
Oh, too young to go.
Yes.
You know what he died from? Fentanyl. Fentanyl.
Oh no.
Did him in. Yeah.
Oh gosh, I okay, truly and truly. It just goes I hate the thought of that.
It's terrible.
I
And it
hate
said
the thought of that.
the report that I read said it was an accident. You know, he didn't mean to.
That's what they say about all of those people that accidentally go
Yeah,
too much or
it's
whatever
terrible.
they do.
Yeah. Stay away from drugs, people.
Oh.
Let's not do drugs.
Oh my gosh.
Get your sleep because you're going to need rest, but let's
Yes,
not
but
do
don't
drugs
use
to
sleep
get it.
aids. Yes.
That's true. Oh,
Well,
I just
depending
said,
on the
couldn't the
aid.
Pope have a sleeping pill? No.
Oh yeah, you did.
Yeah.
Well, the normal kind,
Hot
like
milk.
Ambien.
Hot milk. Just drink some hot milk. Throw some chocolate in.
Okay.
All right, next.
Did you know that also in January, Buzz Aldrin, you know who he is?
Astronaut.
He's the astronaut, the second one to land on the moon or put his
Okay.
foot on the moon, whatever. At 93 years old on his birthday, he got married.
Wow.
Now, I have no idea if it was a first wife, second, third, whatever, but he got married on his 93rd birthday.
And then he died the next day?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Okay, that sounds sus to me. It does. It sounds suspicious.
Well,
Like,
it was on the list.
okay, I want to know how old his wife is.
Yeah, I did not see how old she is. It named who she is, but not her
She's
age.
probably 35.
Well,
Seriously.
I don't know.
Anyway, I can't find it. Okay, well,
Okay.
good for him at 93 that he's getting married on his birthday.
Yes. All right. Another thing that happened, and now this is funny because I thought that this term was made up. Well, it is made up, but I thought it was like make believe.
What is it?
The doomsday clock advances 90 seconds to midnight. So I was like, what does that even mean? What is there? Is there really a doomsday clock?
There is.
And there is.
Yeah.
Yes. So I looked it up. It was created in 1947, and it's some kind of gauge or measurement to how close we are to some world tragedy, nuclear world war, end of times type thing.
Right.
That's all I know.
Well, okay. And I looked up, like, well, what did it start at?
Yeah.
You know, how close to were we an hour from midnight? Were
Right,
we
we're-
at, you know,
Right.
11:01
I know. What
when
is
it started? Well, I looked it up and it said that they set the clock at 7 minutes to midnight in 1947 when they came up with this idea. I don't know why they would choose 7 minutes to midnight. I didn't dig that far into it.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Okay, and now the clock has gone up and down over the last 75 years. Okay, and in 1991, it went backwards. So we were 17 minutes from midnight.
Okay.
And that was the end of the Cold War.
Cold War, yeah.
because,
that I know.
it was, wow.
I know.
It was scary for a while there with the Cold War. And then when they ended the Cold War, it felt like, oh, we're going to make it. It's going to be okay. Well, then it dipped down, it dipped down, but then it steadily started to creep up, and it's continued to go up.
Yeah.
In 2020, it was at, let me see, where was it in 2020? Hold on. 100 seconds till midnight. Worldwide pandemic. Things are not looking good. We're 100 seconds to midnight.
Okay.
And then this Ukraine war, Ukraine and Russia war, bumped it up to 90 seconds. So we moved 10 seconds.
Yeah, closer to.
We've only got 90 seconds left.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know why or how these people are calculating all this. I don't think there's a whole lot of math behind it.
Well, maybe there is, and it's just like woof over our heads. I don't know.
Possibility.
Okay, speaking of all these, like, we're closer to this doomsday stuff. I just had a thought that, so when we were driving, we drove separate to Lindy's.
Yeah.
Was it yesterday for workout?
Yeah, it was yesterday.
Well, I was listening to Shine Radio, and the radio host, he said, did you know that we're actually better off? Like, everybody thinks that things are worse now, and I can't remember the exact detail in terms of, like, people who are...
Safety and stuff? Like,
living? Not safety. No, being poor. And,
okay. Okay. Yes.
Things like that. And it's actually increased. Like, the number of poor people who are down and out has actually decreased. So that was a good thing. And then they had some other lighter news, too, that looked much brighter than we would have thought.
Well, that's all awesome. And awful nice. It's awful nice. I think my brain froze for a minute there. My brain just went skip. I got to tell you something. Yesterday, when we we're going to work out, we had decided that we would drive separately because Catherine had an appointment and I had to go somewhere and whatever. Normally, we drive together. Mm-hmm. Well, we kind of flipped and flopped a couple times. And when I was ready to go, I was like, where is she?
Oh, you're kidding.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, wait a minute. And then I just decided to walk down to your house. So I started walking down to your house.
I'm surprised you didn't tell me that. When I told you, I sat in the driveway for a half an hour.
Oh, I forgot. Anyway, yeah. I turned around. I didn't get very far.
Oh.
I didn't get very far. And then I thought, oh, wait a minute. I got to drive myself. Now I'm going to be late.
Oh, that's funny. Oh,
anyway,
that's really fun.
Our lives are enmeshed. Okay.
Yeah, I just got a text from Lindy, actually, just now.
Oh, did you?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, maybe.
Anyway.
Okay. What else you got there?
Yes, let's see. Oh, okay, we are so American. Like I said, I wanted to put stuff on here because Americans are just so self-involved. Taylor Swift tour was launched in March. It's a big deal. I mean, I'm not a big Taylor Swift fan. I mean, I barely even know her songs.
I don't either.
But I do know that she's big news in this
she's
country.
A phenomenon.
Yeah, and I know that people our age are into her, especially women in their, like, 30s, 40s.
You know what her secret sauce is? Here's her secret sauce. It's because, first of all, she targets those, like, 12-year-old girls.
Yeah, and then they grow up and become 30.
Hello.
Yeah.
And 12-year-old girls cannot go to a concert by themselves.
Without their mothers.
So
or
Mama's
whatever.
got to come. And guess what? Mama's not going to suffer alone, so she's going to bring her best friend. So it's going to be Mama and the best friend and the little girl and the best friend.
Yeah.
They're all going to go together. So now Taylor Swift has sold 4 tickets instead of 1.
And that's the same thing like with Disney. You know, Disney, you have to take... Some adult has to take kids to go see these things or purchase them or whatever.
And the other thing about Taylor Swift, by the way, because I don't know her, I wouldn't recognize her music either, but I just see sometimes like different things in the news about her. And sometimes people are like haters, you know? Mm-hmm. And I'm like, what's to hate about this young lady who, first of all, it seems like she writes her own stuff. That's impressive.
And I think
I'm impressed by that.
Oh, for sure. I think she clawed her way out of somebody had control over her. I don't know if it was the record label, management, whatever it was, but she's released from that bondage now, and she owns herself. Something to do with that.
Good for her, because she is herself. She should own herself.
Yeah, she's the artist. She's the one that created this stuff, as far as I know, anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, kudos to her.
More power to her.
I do know. I think she wrote that song "Mean." All you are.
Oh,
all you
did
ever are
she?
is me.
I only know the parody, the clean one.
Yeah, by
Anita
Anita
Renfro.
Renfro,
Yeah.
which is hilarious.
Cool.
All you're ever going to be is clean.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. Keep
Yeah.
going, Taylor.
Yeah.
I'm Team Taylor.
Yeah, and I think that's another thing. Her songs are very sing-along like.
Love
and,
it. She's bringing the people what they want.
Yeah, malicious ex-boyfriend stuff. So
And she's beautiful.
she is.
Can't deny her that.
Yeah. And now that I think about it, look at her in those Capital One commercials.
Yeah.
I mean, she's all over the place. So that's why we put her on the list. Okay?
Yeah.
All
okay.
right. Now, why do we care about this? Well, we were affected by it. Hollywood writers' strike. That happened early in the year.
I love the Hollywood writer's strike.
You love it?
I do, because the less movies and things that are out there, the more people will have to listen to people like us.
Yes.
They have nothing to do.
No writers, more us.
Yeah.
People like the Wild West of the podcast.
I kind of joke about that because I do believe that as a creative person myself,
Yeah, you're a writer.
So I wrote a book, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I wrote comedy, right? It takes a lot to pull stuff out and to put it on paper.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's your work. It's like your baby, and you put it out there in the world, and you're not going to get paid for it, or somebody's going to try to steal it, like the whole thing about Taylor Swift and whoever her management was and them trying to take advantage of her or whatever. That really frosts my cookies.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no, I believe that people should be paid.
Well, right. The stars and actors and so forth were getting paid like, crazy amounts. And the people who are writing their scripts and things weren't getting compensated fairly. So that was that. So it affected TV and movies and all kinds of stuff. Disney, because I was talking with my daughter Emily, and she's like, oh, I can't remember the details, but she's like, yeah, we're really affected by the writer's strike. And
it's unfortunate that the strike came, after a worldwide pandemic, which everything was shut down.
Mm-hmm, exactly.
Why didn't they strike then? I don't know. Maybe because it wouldn't have been as
maybe
effective.
it was bubbling up. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
By the way, Emily went to see Taylor Swift too.
Did
down
she?
in Florida. Yeah, she said it was awesome.
Good.
Yes, and didn't Claudia's daughter
Jamie went? Yeah, with
and
her
she said
friend
she had a good
and the
she
two
had a good time.
daughters.
Right.
Oh yeah.
All right. Okay. In May 6th, actually, the king was crowned. It was his coronation, and that was the first time in 7 decades.
The King of England, by the way, in case you're wondering which king.
Yeah, I
You
guess.
just said the king was
well,
crowned.
I kind of assumed.
There's a lot of kings. Kings, three kings.
From Orientar, chewing on a rubber cigar. No, but anyway, well, yes, you're right. I assumed most people would know
King
who
Charles.
I meant. King Charles.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Did you watch the coronation?
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I did too.
Yeah.
It was interesting.
Yeah, it's a big deal. Okay. Oh, and then in June, that Titan submarine, that submersible tank thing imploded. That was all over the news. That was tragic.
That triggered my claustrophobia.
Oh, yes.
It did.
Yeah. I can see where it would.
The thought of human beings trapped in a little bubble underneath the ocean, waiting for their oxygen to run out, because that was like the story before they discovered, the debris field and whatever, was, their oxygen could be running out. I'm like, that would be my nightmare.
I know, and I hate to say this, because, I mean, people were affected, their families. Some of these guys, I think, had, young children, I think. But nonetheless, had families, and they were warned, like, don't go that deep, because this is going to happen, and it did.
There was a father and son on board.
Oh, was there?
Yeah, and the son was like in his teens. I don't know if he was 18 or 19.
Oh.
Tragic, absolutely tragic.
Oh.
And yes, it was an exercise in irony in a way, because it was called the Titan. They were looking at the Titanic. The Titanic people were warned, don't go with no lifeboats. You need lifeboats, or you need more lifeboats. Well, it'll look bad.
Real tragic. I'll bet you there'll be a movie on that.
Probably.
Someday. Yes.
I feel bad for them.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to mention this one. I don't think it's I don't know why this is on as big news for 2023, but I'm going to mention it because I want to point out what wasn't mentioned. The Oppenheimer and Barbie movies were released.
Yeah, together.
And so this made the list, but not The Sound of Music, which was, not The Sound of Music, The Sound of Freedom at the same time was released as well. And that was a big deal. That was a really good movie, an eye-opener, and, a movie with purpose.
Yeah.
And so I was bothered that wasn't mentioned.
Well, I think that Oppenheimer and Barbie, they had some sort of a concoction that went together.
It did.
Because they sold, like, you buy one, get the both of them or something.
Yeah, right. It was the hype, and it was the promoting and marketing. And the Barbie movie was the first movie to do this box office hit with a woman creator. So I know that about Barbie. And the Oppenheimer movie, I mean, it was good. Did we see it together?
Yeah, I saw the Oppenheimer movie. It was interesting. I love movies that are about real people, so I liked that aspect of it. Mm-hmm. I love Cillian or Gillian or whatever his name is, the Irish actor who played Oppenheimer. Mm-hmm. I forget his last name, but
I have no idea.
I love him. I think he's a fantastic actor. The movie was a bit long, in my opinion, but it was very good.
It was.
It was interesting.
Yeah.
I have not seen Barbie. I haven't seen it.
I haven't either, but I think my girls went to see it, and they said it was very creative. Yeah. And it was good because all, the adult innuendos and so forth. So they said it was good. So.
Okay.
All right. And tragically, in August, the Maui wildfires happened.
That was terrible.
Really,
Lahaina.
Yes.
So sorry.
Very, very tragic. Huge. And it seemed preventable. Because I think something with the electric company was warned. I don't know. There was something about that, wasn't there? That it could have been prevented, perhaps.
I don't know now if they have investigated and come to any idea of, who's to blame for the destruction. But it seemed like there was just like a whole bunch of errors that were made in terms of their warning system. And public announcements were not made. People were like taken by surprise, like, oh my gosh. And they had to basically run for their lives and run into the ocean to save themselves.
Right. Oh, yeah. It was like the perfect storm. The people, right. They weren't warned in time, but then again, it was like a blame game thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Now this one, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is terrible. This next one that I'm going to mention. Mm-hmm. Here in the United States, in September, it was recognized in terms of mass shooting milestone. Number of mass shootings in the United States reached an all-time high. Terrible news.
Wow.
I know. Which made me think about what I just heard on Shine when they were saying that, of course, they're not talking about that, but they were talking about other good news stuff. But anyway.
That's terrible.
Welcome to the United States, and we got all these people who want to live in this country, and we do. I mean, we've had high crime problems for decades.
Yeah, things are going to have to turn around somehow.
Yeah. Okay, another not so good news. October was when Israel and Hamas, the war began with that. So that's all I have, because you're going to present the deaths that happened.
Now that you say that additional war with Israel and Hamas, the doomsday clock didn't move with that, but it moved with Russia and Ukraine. Or maybe they're calculating. Maybe they're like, oh no, we only have 90 seconds left. What are we going to do?
Yeah. You're right. Yeah, it's interesting.
All right, on to more bad news from 2023.
Oh, I'm sorry. I did forget a few
what
that
was
are
it?
On here. Well, in March, I just thought this was interesting, and this is light. Thank goodness.
Yes, please bring us up, Catherine.
Vinyl record sales exceeded CD sales for the first time since 1987.
I love it that vinyl is on the return.
Yeah.
It's coming back.
Yeah. And in April, NASA announced their astronauts for the first time in 50 years to go back to the moon.
Wow.
Which I was like, really? Haven't we been in space, like building that little,
That's not the
place?
moon, though.
Well, I know, but I just couldn't believe that it's been 50 years.
Well, what is there to do on the moon? I mean, once you go
Explore.
there, no, I think they look at it and they go, okay, there's dust, there's rocks. They put this flag here, and then they figured out other things that could actually benefit our culture and society, like how to place satellites and give us more internet and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So why go back to the moon? What's there to do there?
Well, I thought they were looking for life. I guess they didn't find any, so why go back? I don't know.
I think they're
To bring moon dust back?
for what though? What are you gonna do with it?
Hey, they're always wasting money. So
True. I think they're looking for life on Mars.
I know that's what
I don't understand why either. I mean, what are you going to do? Go live on Mars with the life over there?
Yeah, I was surprised though that it'd been 50 years. Really.
Yeah. I don't even want to leave my town, let alone go to the moon or Mars. Ugh.
Yeah.
Could you see me strapping into a rocket going, heading to Mars?
No. That's so funny.
Not in a million years.
Made me think. Anyway.
Anything else over there?
One more.
All right.
Elton John ended his farewell tour in Stockholm, Sweden.
Ah.
I didn't write down when it finished, but it was 2023.
And you went to the Elton John
did.
farewell
Alice
tour.
Bought me, yeah, for my birthday and Mother's Day, she bought me a ticket and herself. And that was a treasure.
Saturday.
Yes. And Daniel.
Love
and
it.
There's so many songs that I do love. Yeah, it was a very awesome concert.
Neat. All right.
Yes.
You done?
I'm done with that.
Okay, well, I just looked at a few celebrities. Catherine already gave away one of them, which was Adam Rich. We already talked about him. Tina Turner died in 2023.
Right. She was how old?
83.
Yes.
And, okay, when we were looking at what to bring all of you in terms of remembering, events of 2023, we were like, okay, well, who were the ones that died in 2023? But they didn't always list the cause of death.
Right. It was so frustrating.
It was frustrating. You know why I think they do that? Because they don't want to, say if it was something nefarious, like an overdose or suicide or whatever.
Either that or they're just lazy journalists.
Whatever. Both. Probably both. So we dug a little deeper, and okay, Tina Turner's cause of death was officially listed as natural causes.
Yeah.
I mean, she was 83.
Yeah.
Okay. Then we have Cindy Williams.
Right. And she's from Laverne and Shirley, right?
I loved her.
She was Shirley.
She was Shirley.
Remember Laverne would go, Charl.
I loved Shirley. Shirley was spunky. She was cute.
Yeah.
Laverne was a little bit more gruff.
Yeah.
And Shirley was just more, fun.
Yeah.
Well, she died at the age of 75.
And how did
and
she
it
die?
just said brief illness. It didn't give anything more than that, but she had been briefly ill. Okay, so you fill in the blanks.
Right.
Okay, of course, Matthew Perry.
Yes.
What a tragic life. I had no idea that he had that strong of a problem with drugs and alcohol. I didn't know. I mean, I had heard little rumblings of it, but I got to say, Friends, I never really watched it because it was in the 90s.
Yeah.
And then in the 90s, I was up to my elbows with babies. I had too many kids running around to watch a show.
I didn't know back in the 90s that he had a problem, but I think in the 2000s, I just started hearing and learning that he had this real struggle. And then when he came out with that book, not that long ago, I think.
Yeah, it was like a year ago.
Was it a year ago?
Something like that, yeah.
And I wanted to believe that he was free from it and clean. And I just, he was only my age, 54.
Yeah. He was way too young to leave this world. And it sounds like what everybody has said about him, he was a great friend. He was a great person. And I think that's really important for all of us to think about in terms of addiction.
Yeah.
Addiction doesn't care how much money you have, how great of a person you are. It doesn't care what your family looks like,
That's right.
who's going to get hurt by your behaviors. Addiction doesn't care. So my encouragement to all of us would be stay away from those things that are addictive.
That's right. Yes. And another thing, addiction is unpredictable in terms of who it affects. Just like you said, doesn't care who you are.
Does not care.
Right.
It wants you. It wants you alone. It wants you in the dark. It wants you separated from your loved ones in isolation so that it can have you all to itself and kill you. And that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
It's such a shame.
Oh.
I'm so sorry. Rest in peace. And they did find out that it was ketamine or however you say
Right.
it. It was a drug that was in his system.
Yeah.
So there's apparently more to come on that investigation.
Yeah, and they say that he had to have injected it himself in order to have died in the hot tub.
Or perhaps somebody else gave it to him.
yeah, but
Okay, here's
Yeah.
the thing. If you're going to do drugs or drink, please stay away from the water.
There's
Stay away from
so
the
many
water.
famous people that have died in their tubs.
Come on.
No.
You're going to sit and relax in the water
You know, it makes me think they must do that often. You know, just
to relax.
To
Like, this
relax.
is my routine.
yeah,
I don't know.
in order.
But, note to self, just take a shower.
Just don't do drugs, people. Say
Yeah.
no.
Yeah. Easier said than done, because
I know.
when you are addicted, because my dad was addicted to alcohol, so he was an alcoholic, and there's a crossover line. I am 100% sure that my dad did not say to himself when he was a young man, I'm going to get addicted to alcohol. He was just out having a good time. He was enjoying his buddies. He was, this, that, relieving stress, whatever it was. And guess what? At some point, he couldn't say no to it.
Yeah.
And it was every day, and then it was affecting his marriage. It was affecting our home. And he went to Alcoholics Anonymous, and then he had to give it up totally.
Yeah.
Thank God he did, because I don't think he would have lived as long as he did had he not done that.
Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah.
just saying that addiction, it's a hook, and it gets its hook in you, and it's really tough to break.
That's right.
So hang on, friends.
Whew, we got serious.
All right, let's
there.
move on.
Yeah.
More death.
Oh my gosh.
Sorry. Lisa Marie Presley passed away.
Yeah, gosh, she was my age too.
54.
Yeah.
She had a cardiac arrest. Okay.
Yeah.
This was a complication of bariatric surgery. Weight loss surgery was the ultimate cause of her death. She had this weight loss surgery many years ago. It caused a small bowel obstruction, which caused her cardiac arrest.
Yeah. Yikes.
So just be
Scary.
chubby and
Just
be okay with it.
Just be jolly. Jolly good fella.
They don't call
Or
them love handles for nothing. It's like give something to hang on to.
Yeah.
Anyway, sadly, Jimmy Buffett passed away
Yeah. Yeah, that's
at
right.
the age of 76, and he had skin cancer.
Yes. A rare one.
He did. He had suffered with some sort of skin cancer for 4 years, and then it turned into this really rare thing, and it took his life. I'm sad about that. And then Robert Blake, Beretta. Remember him?
Oh my gosh, he died too, huh?
He died, but he was 89.
Yeah, I was
so-
going to say he had to be up there. I remember that. He visited our school, our
Did
high
he
school.
really?
Yeah, he came and gave a lecture. Never forgot that.
What did he give a lecture about?
Drugs.
Wow.
Mhm.
Was he addicted to drugs?
The way I remember it, yes.
Wow.
And at least that's how I remember it. But all I know, I was scared to death. I was like, ooh, that doesn't sound good. And
Yeah, don't do
I
it.
can remember too, like, so I went to Lincoln Way High School and, Frankfort, New Lenox. And remember, like, we were in the auditorium on, the bleachers and several people passed out. I remember that too.
Passed out?
Yeah, I don't know if it was too hot. I don't remember. Well, the thing is like, it just freaked me out.
Several people passed out at a high school in like an auditorium where
That's how I
Beretta came.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that seems like suspicious. I'm sorry.
Well, yeah, I know, but you know how sometimes your memories can mesh, but I'm certain that a few people passed out.
Now we've gone from a few or from several to a few, so it's changed already.
Well, I just said that to be safe.
Someone passed out. Someone might have passed out. Someone might have nodded off, and it wasn't Pope Benedict the XVI.
Yeah, but anyway, he came.
Either way, Beretta has passed away. Robert Blake, who played the detective Beretta, and he died of heart disease.
Yeah.
So sadly.
Yeah.
All right, that is the end of the list. There are more celebrities who have passed away in 2023, but that's just...
We don't know them.
Yeah, most of them.
Yeah.
Now tell our audience, Catherine, your highlights from 2023.
Well, my highlights, they're not all highlights. Some of them are just things that happen, events, and one of them, most recent, our dog died.
Yeah.
Our poor dog. Our poor dog. And everybody who knows me, I'm not really a dog person, but I did care for Macy. She was like part of the family, and most of all, to see my husband grieving.
It's hard.
Oh my gosh. he's really taking it hard.
It's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this was just a couple days ago, but and she didn't die naturally. We had to put her down. It was awful.
Yeah, but it was inevitable, and the vet was saying, it is time. It's your choice.
And she said, even if we tried this other med, she said, one, we don't know if it'll work. Two, it would take 2 months to even be able to detect whether or not it's helping.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, the dog got to the point where she couldn't even really walk.
She couldn't control her back legs.
No,
Yeah.
her legs would just go down.
And she wasn't eating at all.
Yeah.
Well, if we gave her, Kenny would cook up some eggs. She wasn't even eating her favorite bacon treats.
Yeah.
So
if you can't eat bacon,
I know. Yeah.
And you can't walk.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
All right. Well, anyway, so on a highlight, I finally opened my booth.
Yay.
Like I have a booth, yeah, and I just feel like it's just something fun for me. I enjoy it. And it's doing pretty well.
Well, tell our local audience where they can go to visit your booth.
You can go. It's Catherine's Curiosities, and it's in Indian Oaks Antique Mall in Bourbonnais, Kankakee. It's got both addresses. We're right on the border, but really it's like Bradley, Bourbonnais.
Mm-hmm.
And anyway, it's booth number 13. And I have like just a bunch of curated items. I'd like to kind of stick to... I love art. I realize how much I love art, but watercolors and oils I like the most, mostly watercolors. And like a coastal theme, but I do have, and then I noticed too, I like glassware, vintage glassware. I love it. And so anyway, it's eclectic, but also organized. So
yeah, it's a really cute booth, so check it out.
Yeah. Oh, and leather. I've got a lot of leather and vintage clothing.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. My daughter Emily got promoted down at Disney.
Yes, she did. Very good. Congratulations.
Yes. So I was real excited about that for her, and she's just trying to climb her way up. My daughter Ellis bought a house.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm proud of her and happy for her, but it broke my heart.
Yeah.
When she moved out.
Yeah, it was hard.
Very, very.
These seasons that we go through, all these changes. So the dog, the kids, the this, the that, the job, blah, blah, blah. It's hard. Change is hard.
It is.
It is.
Yes. Yeah. We had a wonderful Christmas.
Nice.
That was a very fun highlight to see our extended family, and it just means a lot to our whole family. My kids love it, and they love to bring their loved ones, their significant other. And so anyway, it's a great thing. So shout out to Christy and Joe Klaus. Also, so our podcast reached nearly 17,000.
Can you believe that?
That's huge. Yes.
Almost 17,000 downloads of our podcast.
Yeah, downloads.
Our podcast grew by like 60% over 2023.
Yeah.
From 2022 to 2023, from December of 2022 to December of 2023, we've increased our listenership by like 64%.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Right. So that's exciting.
Thank you, listeners.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And then I put down that our contributors started coming in. Now,
yeah,
that started in 23, right? We didn't have it in 2022?
I believe it was in 23, yeah. Because we talked about it for like a year.
Yeah.
Because we weren't sure how to do it, what to do, blah, blah, blah.
Right. Either that it was toward the end of 2022. But
either way, it's about a year.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So those are some highlights that I put together right before we started recording.
That's great. I put some too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I feel like this year is the first year back for me from COVID. From all the shutdown of my career.
Yeah, you had more gigs this year than 2022, that's for sure.
Way more.
Yeah.
And obviously 2020 and 2021 were absolutely shut down because no one was doing comedy shows in churches or hospitals, which is where I do mine. I work for them. So that was a bust. And then 2022 just seemed like a slower... Still, it was starting to come back, but not as much. And I did my recording in 2021. Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
So anyway, I feel like we're back now, and hopefully even 2024 will be even better.
Yeah.
I started subbing
Yes.
again
Yes.
this year. I subbed a little bit. I'm a substitute teacher. I subbed a little bit before the pandemic, but only in high school. And this year I started subbing in all grades. So
Yeah.
K through 12. And
Yeah.
I have some awesome material to add to my act
That's
about
awesome.
subbing.
Yeah.
I do love it. Like, I love the kids, you know,
Mhm.
except for junior high kids. I've only subbed one day in junior high so far.
Yeah.
And I am going back after the first of the year. I've already signed up for some sub jobs to go back to the junior high. But that age level is really different.
Challenging.
It's just so different.
Yeah, smelly too.
I mean, high school, you can just sit there and take attendance and just sort of look at them and, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
They don't care. You don't care. Elementary school, you have to stay active all day. Like, you actually have to teach, you know,
Yeah.
and do stuff. But they're so cute, and they really do want to obey for the most part, unless they're having a really bad day. So
Yeah.
anyway, I find it interesting.
Aw.
I became an ordained minister.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
I paid my $50. And I sent in my little form.
Yes.
Yeah, because Catherine's daughter and future son-in-law have asked me if I would unite them in holy matrimony.
Yeah.
And one needs to be ordained, apparently. And there's some website where you just go clickety clack and boom, you're ordained.
Yes.
So
Gosh,
now-
that just reminded me. They need to pay you for that.
Oh, the $50?
Yeah, they need to pay you.
It ain't no thing. Okay, I wrote down here that Comedy Dynamics worked a deal with me for distribution on my film.
That's right. Whoop whoop.
Yeah, I mean, so far, nothing.
Well, it just takes time.
Oh, yeah, right. This is like
Easy for me to say.
being a pregnant elephant, you know, aren't they pregnant for like 4 years? Seems like it takes forever.
Yeah.
Because this distribution deal that I started working on it over a year ago, and it's just me. I don't have anybody else that's representing me. You know,
Yeah.
it's just me. And so I just emailed them on a random, like, nothing. I was just thinking, I was watching actually somebody else's comedy special, and the logo came up, Comedy Dynamics. And I went, oh, I wonder if they would take mine.
Yeah.
So I Googled Comedy Dynamics. I found some random, I don't know, email address. And I said, hey, I'm funny. I
Yeah.
got a thing.
Right.
You want
Pay
to
attention to me.
you want to sponsor my thing or take my thing? I have no idea how it works. And it took 9 months for us just to get to the point of talking
Yeah.
about it.
Right.
Because I heard nothing for 9 months. It was crickets. I had forgotten that I even reached out to them. And then I heard back from them, and they said, yeah, we're interested. And I'm like, oh. And then it took more time just to get the back and forth. So now we're at the stage where they're shopping it out to different, like, vendors, I guess, or places that buy that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And we'll see what happens. So pray, friends, that
Yeah.
something will happen. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the final thing I just put on there was just a few weeks ago I went to Alaska. That's kind of a don't do that every day.
Right. That's very true.
3,500 miles from home. That's the furthest I've ever been from home.
Oh, wow.
That's a long way.
Mm-hmm.
So Catherine and I have the Life 360 app, you know?
Yeah.
And so I could see how far away you were from me, you know, when I
Yeah.
was there. And I'm like, oh my gosh. We've never been this far away.
Jack.
Yeah. And Muffin went with me. So that was good that I had him there. Because I don't think I would have gone if I was by myself. I'd be too
Yeah.
scared.
I think that would have been quite, hard for you.
Oh, yeah. And I first of all, I would be bored by myself. I went on a dog sled ride.
I know.
That wasn't even on my bucket list.
Well, and tell them about the Northern Lights.
The Northern Lights were beautiful.
yeah,
The
we
Northern
did
Lights
that.
were absolutely stunning.
But here's the thing.
cold, though.
Yeah. You tell them how long you had to stay up.
Okay, the Northern Lights are actually the Northern Lights. I did not know this. It's a blessing that we have the Northern Lights because it's like a reaction that happens to the magnetic force shield or whatever that protects the Earth
Yeah.
from solar flares or something.
But why does it happen there?
Okay.
Like
It's
or at least more
because you
clearly.
can see it from the north because it's something about these solar flares that like shoot out from the sun and it sends radiation like there and this magnetic field like bounces it off and then it makes these glowy lights. My son was explaining it to me, my engineer son, Nate,
cool.
He's a solar engineer.
Yeah.
So he was giving me like the engineer talk, and I was like,
I hope it was in layman's terms.
Well, close enough.
Yeah.
He basically just said, we're lucky that we have the magnetic shield, because if we didn't, life as we know it wouldn't exist, because we'd all be radiated. Like you would have no communications or anything. Everything would go zzz.
Wow.
Yeah.
It is interesting.
And so the way that you see it is it has to be clear. It has to be a clear day. You can't see it through fog or through clouds, So it has to be clear, and it's up in the north. I don't know why that is, but it's just the position of the earth to the sun. It's only the northern part. That's why they call them northern lights. And something else. What was it? Oh, there has to be a storm on a solar flare type of storm thing happening on the sun.
Oh.
Yeah.
What?
So
all those things?
It's a lot of things.
And they all have to line up?
They all have to line up perfectly. And the best time to see these solar things are like around midnight, the 3 hours before midnight, and 3 hours after midnight.
So, okay, this goes to show how much I don't know. So does that mean that your timing there in Alaska just happened to be, or does this happen every night where all those things line up like that?
No, it doesn't line up like that always. The northern lights are kind of always there. Like the magnetic shield doesn't move.
Okay.
And the
reaction.
sun and the sun flares happen more so than we see it, but there's fog or there's clouds or whatever. And then there's some sort of 20-year cycle that I was reading about, and we're at the top of that cycle right now where it's the absolute best time to see it was when we were there.
I was going to say, so you just happen to be booked when it's the best time to see it or
right.
When? Wow.
Right. And December is a good time to see the Northern Lights in Fairbanks. And so we booked a tour, and we went up a mountain in some kind of a little tram thing, and my claustrophobia was like starting to click in, but thankfully I was sitting in a seat that was not too tight.
Yeah.
Everybody else I was like, I don't care about them.
Well, when you have your fear, it kicks in just like it did in the elevator.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, a couple weeks after your Alaska thing, or maybe a week.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
If you haven't heard that episode, you have to listen to it.
Yeah. I don't know which one it's on.
We were talking about gift psychology.
Was it on that one? Yeah.
Yeah, so it was like 2 episodes ago. So 154 or something like that. Anyway, so we go up in this tram, and we're going super slow. It takes a half an hour to get to the spot where we're going to look at these lights. And it's negative 10 degrees or negative 15 degrees. It's cold.
God, just send me a picture. That's how I feel.
It's cold, but it's not windy, and it's not damp. So it is a dry cold, but it is bitter cold. And then you look out the window of this little trammy thing, and the snow on the ground looks like glitter. It's absolutely stunning because of the severe cold. It's like all crystallized or whatever. And then like the branches are all like,
I want to live. Please, God, let me live.
So we get to the top of this mountain, and there's a big warming tent up there.
Yeah.
So it's a tent. It's a tent, but it has, it's more like a permanent structure in a way.
Yeah.
And you can fit, there were like 40 of us up there together. And I told Ron, I said, if we don't sign up for this tour, I'm not going to stay up till 2 a.m. to look at the Northern Lights.
You know yourselves. Yeah.
I 100% know myself.
Same. I would not stay up either.
So we go up there, and it's this warming tent, and what you do is you go outside, you look up, you go, are they here? Nope. Okay, go back in the tent. Because once they appear, they'll usually glisten for like 15 minutes. So once you see them, then everybody comes like out of the tent to look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, it reminds me of those shows where people are waiting for ghosts to appear. You know, are they here yet? No. And then they'll get out their little machines. And
yeah. Well, there are actually Northern Lights hunters, people that
I believe it.
And we met some people on this little trip that said that they've been chasing the aurora. They call it chasing the aurora, because it's called the Aurora Borealis or the Northern Lights. So anyway, we just happened to be pretty fortunate to be there at that time, and we signed up for the tour. We saw it.
That would be cool. I mean, I think it's just cool. Just like the other day we saw Shooting Star.
Yeah.
Or Meteor, whatever it was. But I think that's, awesome to see. Yeah. You never know when you're going to see that.
Yeah. I mean, God is pretty big, everybody.
Oh, yeah.
And he's pretty awesome. Speaking of God, let's look at our scripture.
Yeah.
Because I think we've come to an end of 2023 and what we're sharing.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully everybody was inspired by that. We thought this would be fitting. Isaiah 40 verses 30 to 31 says this: "Even youths grow tired and weary, and young men stumble and fall. But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint."
Amen.
I think that's fitting for the end of the year. You know, even if you've had some ick, because we all have ick. It happens.
Absolutely.
It happens.
Mm-hmm.
You can trust in the Lord and he will pull you through.
This is true.
Okay, our call to action for today is
go back and binge listen to us.
Yeah, please
because we don't have an episode for next week.
Right.
Or not next week.
The week after
whatever.
This.
Yeah.
It's like January, whatever the first Wednesday is in January. We're not going to drop an episode because we're both going to be on vacation visiting family in Florida.
Yeah.
Catherine will be visiting her daughter in Disney, and I will be visiting my father-in-law and mother-in-law in the Villages. Mm-hmm. So we'll be at the town square rocking it out, you know?
Yeah.
We're spending New Year's Eve in the Villages.
Mm-hmm. Fun.
Yeah, so we'll only be like an hour from each other.
That's hilarious.
Whatever. All right. Well, you've been listening to the Life Happens Laugh Anyway podcast. I'm still comedian Tracy DeGraff.
I'm still Catherine.
See you next time.
Goodbye.
We'll see you in 2024.
Yeah. See you then.